Training camp is 6 days away. Let's get ready for it. What is up, Finn fans? Training camp is next Tuesday, the 27th. Both rookies and vets are going to be reporting on the 27th. So what this video is kind of just what to get you expected, what to get expected for with training camp. I'm going to give you a little rundown of dates. I'm going to give you a little rundown of, pads, when they're going to be in pads, when they're not going to be in pads, a little rundown and kind of an idea of what to expect when it comes to training camp that starts on Tuesday. But before we jump into that, I got to shout out a few very, very helpful and great people. For the Patreon side, that is Marvin Wilson Jr. Thank you so much, bud, for joining the Patreon. And for the member sign, that's Paul Holland. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And like usual, Backroom Collections. They have new artwork. They have new types of artwork. I'll pop up some really cool. It looks like a 3D print. Really good stuff. You go over there. The link for the website is in the description. Use the promo code DDW. You get yourself 10% off on some great artwork. Ricky is right over there. I don't know if you can see him. He's behind my guitar. Real quick, a lot of people, there's more new news came out about Deshaun Watson with PFN's article. I didn't make a reaction video to it. I did not talk about it because it's dumb. Why is it dumb? Because there was literally nothing new in that article. It's the same regurgitation. There's nothing to talk about. Same with Xavier Howard's update tweet. There's nothing. They have nothing to talk about. There was nothing to talk about. I didn't make a video for that exact reason, that there's nothing to talk about. So no, I wasn't going to make a video on it. If it happens, it happens. But again, they have $5 million cap space. If it happens, they got to make a lot of moves. Hey, is that getting rid of Xavier Howard in the possible trade? Sure, that clears up a certain amount of money. Might need to clean up some more. So, I don't know. Again, I'm not talking about it because until certain things happen, especially with a ton of videos that I've already done, until certain things happen, it's nonsensical for me to bore you guys with repeating the same regurgitation. Xavier Howard wants more money, but he doesn't want more money, and the Dolphins want Deshaun Watson, but they don't want Deshaun Watson, and Dolphins believe in Tua, but Dolphins don't believe in Tua, and same stuff. I'm getting ready for training camp. I got the Fin Maniacs coming on here for Friday. We're going to be previewing the training camp. The three of us, me, Jason Sarney, and Hassam, going to be previewing the training camp. It's going to be fantastic. Just want to shout those guys out. So let's talk about training camp. We're going to talk about training camp. I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on with training camp. So training camp, like I said, starts on July 27th. I think for the Cowboys and the Steelers, who are playing the Hall of Fame game, they start a little earlier. So they get a little bit of a heads up because their game is a little further than the rest of the NFL. But for the Miami Dolphins, their rookies and their vets will report on the 27th. Fans can be the first date that is available, and I think it's already sold out, is the 31st of July, that fans can be in attendance at training camp. The training camp ends on September 5th. September 5th is the last day of training camp. The last day of training camp for fans to be there is on August 27th, the Friday. There is 13 open practices to the public. I will pop up the dates and also go check out the Miami Dolphins website. That's also where you can get tickets for it, is at the Miami Dolphins website. I don't know if they're free or not. I think it is first come, first serve. I think they are free. So if you want to attend, unfortunately, I cannot attend training camp having the new baby. She's only 7 months now, going to be 8 months. I would prefer not to leave her with just her and her mother. I prefer to stay and help, and it's first year, so I'm not going to be able to make training camp this year, but next year I will be down for at least one date of training camp. But like I said, I will be at the Jets Miami takeover, and I'm trying my best to get down there for the Thursday night game against the Ravens. If not that one, then the game before that against the Texans. So like I said, starting on the 27th, ends on the 25th. 31st, you guys can first come, and all that jazz. 13 open dates to the public. Now we have 2 joint practices. This is kind of recap and stuff, but we have 2 joint practices. One with the Chicago Bears, one with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Atlanta Falcons one is home, being that that is our only home game of the preseason. We have 3 preseason games in Chicago, home Atlanta, in Cincinnati. The Chicago one, which is our first joint practice, will be in Chicago, and then the Atlanta one is here in Miami. That also being said, it just came out that the NFL Network is going to be showing a good amount of preseason games, and lucky for us, the Miami Dolphins get one of those preseason games. So the week 1 preseason game against the Chicago Bears, 1 o'clock that Saturday, I think it's the 14th, will be on the NFL Network. Now, I'm going to live stream the first quarter of that game. I do have to go to my father's birthday on that weekend, so I will be live streaming not the entire game, but the first quarter. We get a good idea of what Tua looks like, what the starters look like, get a little cool understanding, and then after I get home, I will do the recap of the game and all that stuff. And then the Cincinnati Bengals' 3rd preseason game will be on CBS. It's 4 o'clock. So we get 2 televised preseason games that we can sit down and watch. So those are some tidbits of information when it comes to dates. Now, training camp in itself. A lot of people want to ask, when are they going to be wearing pads, all that stuff. Now, there are certain rules when it came with the new CBA, and I'm going to run down a few of them. So it says, per the collective bargain agreement, the first 3 days must contain 0 contact. So the 27th to 28th, well, I don't know exactly when the first 3 days, because it's not going to be every day. It's not going to be 27, 8, 29, 30, 30. It's like 2 days and I think a day off and then 3 days. I don't know the exact dates of training camp. I know the exact open dates, but I don't know the exact dates. But anyway, the first 3 days must contain 0 contact. Days 4 and 5 allow players to practice full speed in spiders and shells. And essentially what that is you're wearing a helmet and it's like light shoulder pads. They're not as big, so you get the feel of it. Day 6 is a mandatory day off. So from what I'm seeing, they'll probably do 5 days in a row. So again, the first 3 days, 0 contact. So, the 27th, 28th, 29th, no contact. Day 4 and 5, full speed with spiders and shells, which is the 30th and 31st. So if you are going on the first day of open to the public, you're not going to see contact, but you'll see them going at full speed with spiders and shells on. Again, it's just light gear and their helmets. Day 7 is when they start wearing full pads. So day 7, if you're going to that one, which is August 3rd, that's when they're going to have their full pads on, and that is very important. Now, I'm going to take a step back from all the little tidbits and all that other jazz and talk about pads and full padded practice and why they are so important. Full padded practices are incredibly important to see what we have when it comes to the offensive line and the defensive line, the running game, and the linebackers. Without pads on and without that play, it's just a lot of flag football. So you get an understanding of your wide receivers and your corners because, essentially pressing and all that stuff and the safeties, all that play. You can tell who's doing well and who's doing bad with or without pads on. But when it comes to everything else, when it comes to what would be a sack, when it comes to what would be pressure, when it comes to, the lanes being open for the running game, when it comes to potential stops in the running game, having the pads on is when we really get a good understanding. And the fact that the Miami Dolphins are going to be having 2 joint practices also is going to give the Dolphins and their coaching staff a really good idea of what type of team we have going into the season. Because I said this when they announced the joint practices, you're consistently going up against the same person day in and day out. So essentially you are understanding and picking up on their cadences, their moves, all this stuff. And it becomes very fundamental. You'll see the offensive line will start to do really well one day and all of a sudden the defensive, it's a very back and forth. And you see that a lot with the defense. That's what you kind of want to expect when it comes to training camp. You don't want one side to be completely dominant. Now, last year, we didn't have a training camp. We had 2 weeks of actual work on the field and a lot of studying and all that other stuff. So we didn't really have a full-fledged training camp, and again, no preseason. So we couldn't really tell who was doing what and who was doing well, especially because the reporters and the beat writers weren't allowed there to tell us anything. I'll get to that in a second. So having pads on will really help us, and then also joint practices will help us going against people unfamiliar, and actually having a preseason is going to be very, very good, especially for us fans that can't be there, and we want to see how they're doing. Now, that being said, there are specific roster dates. Now, the team starts with 90 players, right? Now, the Dolphins did release 2 players by bringing in Isaiah Ford, and I said, well, that left open a spot, and I thought hopefully Melvin Ingram, but he signs with the Steelers, which Dolphins have $5 million in cap space. I didn't expect them to really go after him, even though I wanted them to. They bring in Timon Paris, who is a tackle, so he's taking over one of the spots of either the safety or the center we released. Now, we are allowed to carry 90-man rosters, right? Then we have to cut down to 85 August 17th, 80 players on August 24th, and down to 53 on August 31st. And then, like I said, September 5th, last day of training camp, and then they start to go into practice mode for the season, which I think is I can tell because I could just close this, is the 12th. I was going to say the 14th, but yes, it is the 12th. So that being said, those are the important dates and all that stuff, and just things to keep in mind. Now, when it comes to this channel and how I am going to report every single training camp day, if I'm going to get the information, I'm going to report it to you. If you guys have been rocking with me for the past 3 years, you know exactly what you have coming and exactly what is entailing of all that stuff. For the new people, first off, thank you so much for subscribing. It means the world to me. This is what's going to happen, right? We had no training camp last year, so you didn't get a really good idea of how it works. They're going to give play-by-plays on Twitter. If you haven't yet, go follow every beat writer you possibly can. That's where you can get play-by-plays. Then afterwards, there will be hopefully video of it. I am going to be making my training camp videos probably after all the news comes out, after the reports come out, and I want to try and wait till the videos come out. But if I can't wait that long, because I want to get it to you quick, you guys know, I want to get you the information real quick, then there will be no videos in the video. But if I can get them, when I'm talking about plays, and they do report these things, Tua hits Robert Foster across the middle, yada, yada, would have been a touchdown, stuff like that. You're going to get a lot of that. I'll pop up videos if they're reported or putting up by the time I make my video. So all in all, what you can expect from training camp is the first probably couple days is going to be sloppy on one side or the other, right? They got a whole month off. They got to get back into shape. That's why the first, 3 days, there's no contact, 0 contact, because they're all out of shape. Hopefully not out of shape, but they're all took a month off, got to get back into the groove of football. You'll start to see as training camp goes on, as the middle of August or right before the first preseason game against the Bears, that they'll start to pick things up, and they'll start the urgency will start to be there, and they'll start to be moving along. You'll also notice that I don't know if the TNT wall's not there anymore, so that's not a thing anymore. But they do 2 practices at the same time. And again, I'm going to reiterate this. First teamers will be taking snaps with second teamers. Second teamers will be taking snaps with first teamers. Things will be rotated. People will be taking snaps with different groups. Does that mean that certain people are getting demoted? Does that mean certain people are taking other people's spots? No. We all know for a fact that if Jacoby Brissett takes any type of snap with the first team, that we are going to hear it from a certain group of Dolphin fans that don't want to see Tua succeed. Just ignore it because it's going to happen. That's what happens in training camp. You have to prepare, for, God forbid, for injuries. They will be taking snaps with everybody. Just ignore it. But yeah, like I said, essentially that's what you can expect for when it comes to dates, when it comes to open practices, pads, all that stuff, and how important all this stuff is. Now, we're going to be really, I already made my video if you haven't checked it, what we're going to be looking for, storylines, all that stuff. You want to see the run game, you want to see how the offensive line's doing, how the pass rush is doing, is Xavier Howard going to be there, how is Tua looking? All of these things are going to be under a microscope. And I can't wait. I'm super pumped for Tuesday. We're slowly getting back into football, boys. Once August comes, I think it's going to be, 4 or 5 months until we have a Sunday without football. I am so excited. I can't take it. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for training camp? And I'm going to get to one of you guys' comments of the day. And this comment comes from Twitter. And it comes from Mike Gonzalez. And he says, with us having about $5 million in cap space, who can you see the Dolphins cutting during camp in order to make some cap room for possible late free agent moves? That is a big thing about free agency. And again, we didn't sign Melvin Ingram. I don't know how much Melvin Ingram is going to be getting from the Steelers, but the Dolphins have about $5.5 million in cap space. That being said, if they were to make a move, unfortunately, the Rams running back recently tore his Achilles while training on his own, which is horrible for him. They might be going after Todd Gurley or any of the, Le'Veon Bell, any of the guys out there. But if that is a thing, if someone's going to get cut, it's probably going to be a wide receiver, to be honest with you. Maybe Jakeem Grant. I don't know. It's probably not going to happen until maybe the second or third week into training camp, or maybe even after your first preseason game, because you don't know what you have right now, right? And I said, without pads, you can't really tell with certain aspects of the game what you have. So I don't think the Dolphins are really going to be making any moves. And that's why also, if you expect the Dolphins to make a trade for Deshaun Watson anytime soon or Aaron Rodgers anytime soon, and this isn't coming from any bias, this is me as, take this off. The Dolphins have $5.5 million in cap space. If, like I said, if the Dolphins were to make any type of move for Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers, they'd have to clear up so much cap space. So I don't see it happening anytime soon, especially the stuff going on with Deshaun Watson. That being said, I'll see you guys on Friday talking about all that good stuff. Also, Thursday night, Miami Sports Music is going to be doing some really, really good stuff on there. And Patch Vibes is coming out with some fantastic stuff. So go over there. Use the promo code DDW. You get yourself 20% off. Other than that, I will see you Friday with the Fin Maniacs talking about previewing this training camp. And I'll see you Sunday. Sunday's live stream. But other than that, like usual, stay classy. And fins up.